Hey there, folks. Diane here, 36, female, and boy, do I have a story to tell that'll leave you shocked and bewildered. Now, before we dive into the juicy details, let me make one thing clear. I love my husband and my life, but let's be honest, not everything's been sunshine and rainbows in my little corner of the world. Oh no, far from it. I've had quite a roller coaster of a relationship with my in-laws, Vanessa and Paul. Now, I'm not one to throw around accusations without some evidence to back them up. So let me give you a bit of context. You see, I'm a black woman who dared to marry into a white family, and let's just say my in-laws weren't exactly thrilled about it. The microaggressions, the racial insensitivities, and the downright rude behavior were all part of the package deal, apparently. Now, I don't need to explain to anyone the reservations that Vanessa and Paul might have had, considering America's complicated history, and they were two rich, white, populous Southern individuals. I'm sure you can see how that might have put me at a disadvantage. But here's the thing. I've tried. Lord knows I've tried to be kind, understanding, and approachable to these people. I've extended olive branches left and right, but they just kept chopping them down like lumberjacks on a mission. Cameron, my wonderful husband, bless his heart, would do his best to stand up for me. He'd yell at his parents, urging them to do better, be better, and for a moment they'd promise to change. They'd say all the right things, make all the right noises, and we'd think maybe, just maybe, things were looking up. But alas, my friends, hope can be a fickle mistress. No matter how many times we had these heart-to-heart talks, they would always revert to their old ways. Their racist reservations and torments against yours truly were ceaseless. It was like Groundhog Day, but instead of reliving a single day, it was reliving years of the same old song and dance. You might be thinking, Diane, why on earth did you tolerate all this craziness? Well, love has a funny way of blinding us to certain things, and I was head over heels for Cameron. I foolishly believed that as long as things were good between him and me, I didn't need to worry about winning his parents' approval. But there comes a time when you realize you've had enough, and that time was quickly approaching for me. So let me take you back to a particular event that would turn the tide and leave a lasting impact on all of us. One day I was sitting in the living room, adding the final touches to mine and Cameron's 10th wedding anniversary vacation celebration. We were planning to bask in the sun-drenched beaches of Hawaii, the place where we first embarked on our honeymoon adventure. Cameron and I were eager to celebrate this milestone and create new memories together. As I was in the middle of planning, I was getting an incoming call from Vanessa. Hello. Oh, Diane, my dear, it's so good to hear your voice. I hope you're doing well. Now, let me tell you folks, the sound of Vanessa's voice being enthusiastic and kind was like spotting a unicorn in a concrete jungle. It just didn't happen. So naturally, I was suspicious. Vanessa, what can I do for you? Well, Paul and I have been thinking about it for some time. We want to throw you a surprise wedding anniversary celebration for you guys. Surprise? Why are you telling me then? Oh, it's all part of our plan. You see, Paul and I are going on a book tour for our memoir, and we thought this celebration would generate some positive press. Ah, of course, the perfect opportunity for you to get some attention. How thoughtful. Diane, darling, we just want to show our love and support for you two. It's an important milestone after all, and Paul and I would also benefit from this. It's a win for everybody. Why aren't you happy? Forget it, Vanessa. Guess I can't fight this. But if it's supposed to be a surprise, why are you spoiling it for me? Well, we thought it would be best if you were aware. You know, in case there are any preferences or details you'd like to discuss beforehand, we want to make sure that you and Cameron are comfortable. Preferences? Details? Vanessa, please spare me. We both know that this is about control, not consideration. That's not true, Diane. We genuinely want to make this a special celebration for you and Cameron. Paul and I also wanted to express some potential concerns with this arrangement. Yes? Please make sure that you're on your best behavior. None of that ghetto talk that you engage in. Excuse me? This is going to be a big event, Diane. More than 250 people are going to be there, promoters and publishers. I even managed to get several socialites to come to this event, so you better not blow it for us. What do you mean by ghetto talk? You know, that language that you and your people engage in. It's not proper English, so please make sure you address that. I'm hanging up the call now. What? Why? Wait, we have to discuss. I stormed into the bedroom, my heart racing and my blood boiling with anger. I found Cameron sitting on our favorite armchair, engrossed in a book, oblivious to the storm that was about to hit him. Cameron, you won't believe what just happened. Your mother had the audacity to insult me on the phone. What? What did she say? She had the nerve to tell me I shouldn't speak in that ghetto language. Can you believe it? That's disgusting. I'm so sorry, Diane. You don't deserve to be treated like this. I'm tired, Cameron. I'm tired of constantly fighting, of trying to explain, of being the bigger person. It's exhausting, and what hurts even more is that you know how toxic they are. Yet you still insist on keeping them in our lives. Diane, I love you, but they're my parents, and as much as they're being awful, I can't just cut them off completely. That's what you said 5 years ago. Do you remember? Of course I remember. We almost broke up because of this. How could I forget? You see, folks, 5 years ago, Cameron and I were on the brink of divorce. Shocking, I know. And you'll never guess the reason. It was because of his parents. Surprising, I know. I had had enough, and I told Cameron that he should cut his parents off completely so that we could live in peace, but he was quite conflicted. I guess it's not rocket science to understand why. I mean, they're his parents, but I simply couldn't understand why he was still holding on to them. Yes, they were his parents, but why keep such toxic people in your life? Blood isn't always thicker than water. Anyways, the arguing escalated and we almost got divorced. Seriously, I even got the divorce papers, but we managed to overcome it. What can I say? We just loved each other a lot, and we decided that we'd weather the storm together, hoping that things would change with time, as things normally do. But things stayed the same. His parents were as racist as ever, and we continued the cycle. And what has changed since then? Nothing. They're still the same, and it's affecting us and our happiness. It's affecting my happiness. I know, Diane. I know it's difficult, but I can't just cut them off completely. It's complicated. Complicated, Cameron? Sometimes the right thing to do is also the most difficult thing to do. We deserve to live our lives without this constant drama, without their racist antics. We deserve peace and happiness. Don't you think that I deserve that? Tears welled up in my eyes as the weight of our situation bore down on me. The thought of losing Cameron, the man I loved so deeply, was devastating. But I couldn't continue down this path of endless frustration and pain. Cameron, I'm at breaking point. I've been at this breaking point for years now. I need you to understand that. I can't keep sacrificing our well-being for the sake of toxic relationships. We need to seriously consider cutting them off, once and for all. Diane, I need some time to think. I love you and I don't want to lose you. Let's talk about this more. Please understand that it's not an easy decision for me. Time flew by as we immersed ourselves in the preparations for the anniversary celebration. Vanessa and Paul took charge, leaving no stone unturned to make the event flawless. Surprisingly, they included us in every step of the planning process, seeking our opinions and genuinely valuing my input. It was a refreshing change to see them being so attentive and interested in what I had to say. Diane, what do you think about this color scheme? We want everything to be perfect for you and Cameron. Well, I actually think the blue and gold combination would be lovely. It's elegant and timeless. To my surprise, they didn't dismiss my suggestion or belittle my opinion as they had done in the past. Instead, they nodded, genuinely considering my words. You're right, Diane. Blue and gold it is. We want this celebration to reflect your love and happiness. As much as we want to be in good graces with the public eye, we are prioritizing you two. It's your day, after all. Cameron and I exchanged surprised looks, cautiously optimistic that maybe, just maybe, Vanessa and Paul were undergoing a transformation. We entertained the possibility that their previous actions were more of ignorance than genuine animosity. However, deep down, I couldn't fully dismiss my reservations. It seemed a bit too convenient that their newfound kindness aligned perfectly with the release of their joint memoir and the need for positive publicity. Something felt off, and I couldn't shake that nagging suspicion. Did you see that, Diane? Maybe this book tour has forced them to reevaluate their actions. It's possible, Cameron, but let's not forget their past behavior. We need to be cautious and not let our guard down completely. As the preparations kept going, I couldn't help but notice how they were involving us in every single detail of the event. They wanted our input on the guest list, the menu, and even the music. It felt weird to suddenly be included like this, but I went along with it, waiting for something to go wrong. On the surface, it seemed like our relationship with Vanessa and Paul was getting better. They even managed to keep their racist remarks to themselves during that time. But deep down, I couldn't shake the feeling that their kindness was just a front, a way to make sure they looked good for their book tour. The day of the anniversary celebration finally arrived, and I couldn't deny the grandeur of the event they had orchestrated. It was really fancy. The venue was adorned with blue and gold decorations, but as I had requested, the tables meticulously set and the atmosphere exuded a sense of celebration. Our friends and family were gathered, equally waiting for the surprise, not knowing that we were ready in the loop. There was also a boatload of unfamiliar faces wielding cameras and iPads, the journalists, photographers, and other publicity people, no doubt. As I stood by Cameron's side, anticipation filled the air. Vanessa and Paul, wearing fake smiles, approached us, ready to unveil their grand surprise. Diane, Cameron, we hope you're ready for the biggest surprise of your lives. Yes, of course, surprise. Right. When you two come out, pretend to be shocked, okay? Diane, if you could cry, that would be lovely. And sweetie, remember what we said. No ghetto language, please. Both of you are going to be giving a speech. This needs to go perfectly. Really, Mom? What? You're being racist right now. No, dear, never. What are you talking about? Anyways, this has to go smoothly, okay? Don't dare mess this up for us. There it was. I knew that Vanessa couldn't play nice for more than a week. Her mask began to slip, and she was being as pissy as ever. Looking at Cameron like I told you so. Let's just get this over with. Cameron and I, standing outside ready to enter the venue, trying to act all surprised and thrilled like two puppets in a circus. The emotions were all over the place, and I could feel the tears welling up, realizing that this wasn't the line I had signed up for. But hey, we had a show to put on, right? So I steeled myself and went along with it. As we stepped through the doors, the room erupted with applause and cheers like we were some kind of celebrity duo. And there they were, Paul and Vanessa, grinning like Cheshire cats, ready to welcome us to the stage. Diane, Cameron, welcome to your 10th wedding anniversary celebration. Surprise! Joining in the act, we wanted to show our undying love and support for your blissful journey together. Congrats. Oh, come on, people. You can cheer louder than that. Let's welcome the lovely couple with a roaring amount of support. The crowd erupted louder, and Cameron and I made our way to the podium where his parents stood. Cameron, bless his heart, looked genuinely surprised as he hugged his parents, playing his part like a seasoned actor. The crowd ate it up, clapping and cheering as if we were the stars of a reality TV show. Little did they know the show was about to take an unexpected turn. Vanessa began speaking to the crowd, ready to continue the charade, when I had a sudden epiphany. This was my moment to seize control, to let my voice be heard amidst a sea of phony smiles and hidden agendas. I wasn't about to let this opportunity slip through my fingers. And now, let's hear a few words from the queen of the event, Diane. Thanks everyone for showing up tonight. It's quite the turnout, I must say. Whispers started to spread through the crowd, praising the benevolence of Paul and Vanessa. Oh, how little they knew about what was about to go down. Now, I want to take a moment to express my heartfelt gratitude, not just for this fabulous celebration, but for the lawyers of endless support from my in-laws. Paul and Vanessa exchanged looks of anticipation, their faces beaming and ensuring that the camera people were capturing this moment. They were probably expecting a gushing tribute. Well, they were in for a surprise of their own. Tonight, I want to thank you both for teaching me a valuable lesson. You've shown me just how strong I can be in the face of adversity. Your presence in my life has been a constant reminder of the importance of standing up for what I believe in, even when I'm faced with ignorance and bigotry from you two. The room collapsed into stunned silence, like someone had pressed the mute button on their applause. Paul and Vanessa's forced smile started to fade, their colors shining through for a moment. Vanessa looked at me like she was going to kill me. What the hell are you doing? Carrying on, my voice steady and unwavering. This celebration is not just about Cameron and me. It's a celebration of love that transcends barriers, challenges outdated beliefs, and unites us all. It's a reminder that acceptance and unity should be at the core of our lives, regardless of our differences. The room fell into a hushed stillness. You could practically hear a pin drop. The paparazzi and the publicity crew were probably scratching their heads, wondering how to spin this unforeseen turn of events. But you know what? Deep down in that moment, I felt a surge of power coursing through my veins. I took control of the narrative, snatching back my voice from a room suffocating with fakeness and phoniness. Ain't nobody gonna dictate my story for me. All right, y'all, here's where things took an unexpected turn. As the rumors and whispers spread through the crowd, I could feel the tension rising, but I wasn't about to back down, not this time. Look, you all, I've been keeping up this prim and proper act for way too damn long. It's time to speak my truth. For 10 whole years I've endured racism and constant hatred from Paul and Vanessa. They aren't the positive and progressive couple you think they are. They're awful human beings, exact replicas of their ancestors. The crowd erupted into a symphony of mutters and gasps like a chorus of disapproval and disbelief. But I held my ground, refusing to be silenced. Just as I was about to drop some more truth bombs, Paul tried to snatch the microphone from my hand, but I was quick, holding on to it with a grip as strong as my resolve. And you know what? This entire thing is a lie. Yep, you heard it right. Both Cameron and I knew about this surprise the whole time. Vanessa and Paul orchestrated this whole thing for their upcoming book tour, hoping to get in good graces with the public. The gasps and murmurs escalated, leaving Paul and Vanessa stunned and immobile, not believing what was happening. Cameron was just as shocked as his parents, but he also looked somewhat impressed. Vanessa and Paul want to act all nice and lovely, throw in this so-called celebration for Cameron and me. But let me set the record straight, you all. These two right here, they are the most racist, downright despicable folks I've ever come across. I have been putting up with their crap for a whole damn decade, but I ain't about to tolerate it for a second longer. The room erupted in more gasps, blending with whispers that echoed throughout. The photographers clicked their cameras, capturing every moment of the unfolding drama. The publishers, with expressions of clear disgust, seemed taken aback by the accusations being hurled at Paul and Vanessa. The truth was being exposed, and it wasn't a pretty sight. I continued to expose Vanessa and Paul, sharing numerous examples of how they had mistreated and abused me. With each revelation, the crowd grew increasingly restless, as if they were ready to take up pitchforks and torches and start a riot. What began as gasps and murmurs quickly escalated into anguished shouts from the crowd. I noticed my friends and family members among the loudest voices, fully aware that what I had endured was completely unacceptable. Let me make one thing clear. I will no longer tolerate this toxic environment, Cameron. I can't be with you as long as these two are in our lives. Love shouldn't come at the cost of our self-respect and dignity. I'm leaving, with or without you. Cameron wavered at my words. He understood the gravity of the situation, his expression a mix of determination and sadness. We should never feel afraid to speak up against the mistreatment we face. Racial ignorance is nothing but a shield for those too proud to admit their prejudices. Just at that moment, Vanessa did something that made everyone jump out of their skin. The heifer lunged at me. Could you believe it? Luckily, I narrowly avoided it, and because of the force she came at me with, she almost fell off the stage. The room was now filled with hooting and hollering. Let me tell you, the people were not pleased. The tension hung thick in the air as Vanessa shouted, "You will pay for this, Diane!" Ignoring Vanessa's empty threats, I composed myself and addressed the crowd once again. "I've said what I needed to say. You all know the truth now. I'm done with this crap." And with that, I dropped the mic and I began to make my way out of the venue. As I was walking down the aisle, I was cheered at, with people commending me for my strength. I didn't feel like going home at the time, and as my friends emerged from the venue not long afterward, I decided to stay with them for the time being, knowing that if I went home, it would be a battlefield. All right, let me fill you in on what went down after that intense showdown. I decided to stick with my loyal friends as things started heating up, and let me tell you, it was one fiery storm. As we rode away from that eventful night, I couldn't help but notice social media exploding with videos and posts about the whole ordeal. People were sharing clips of Vanessa almost taking a tumble, and me standing strong, speaking my truth. The internet was buzzing, and it felt like I was finally able to put this whole mess to rest. I had zero intention of ever crossing paths with Paul or Vanessa again. A few days later, Cameron dropped a bombshell on me that shook me to my core. Turns out his parents had to pull their books from the shelves because of the relentless backlash and negative press. Can you believe it? Now they were scrambling, trying to salvage their reputation by issuing public apologies. But you know what? Nobody was buying it. Paul and Vanessa were officially cancelled. Cameron had a change of heart too. He finally realized that he hadn't been the best husband to me. He confessed that he was ready to cut his parents off from his life and our home, and in that moment he asked me to come back home. He wanted us to rebuild our lives together, free from the toxic grip of his parents. Now, I'm not one to forget the pain and hurt easily, but I believed Cameron. So after a lot of thinking and soul-searching, I made the decision to return home. We knew we had a lot of healing and rebuilding to do, but we were ready to face it together, stronger than ever.